Max Verstappen is sitting on top of the world, dominating Formula One in a way few have ever seen. Even though there are some setbacks now, if you look at it over the long term, Red Bull is stronger than ever, records are falling, and yet, behind the scenes, a storm is brewing. Whispers are growing louder that Max might actually leave the team that made him a legend. It sounds insane, but new information has surfaced that changes everything. What's really happening? And could Verstappen's reign at Red Bull be coming to a shocking end? When Max Verstappen burst onto the Formula One scene, it was Red Bull who believed in him before anyone else dared. As a teenager, he skipped the usual route through junior categories and was thrust into the spotlight. Red Bull wasn't just his team, it was his home. Max has often spoken about his loyalty to the team, crediting them for giving him the chance to become the youngest driver ever in the sport. Over the years, he delivered spectacular results, leading Red Bull to a new era of dominance that some thought would last a decade. On the surface, the bond between Max and Red Bull seemed unbreakable. He extended his contract until the year 2028, a massive show of commitment that shocked even insiders. Yet behind the smiles and celebrations, something darker was brewing. Recently, cracks in the foundation have started to show. Subtle tensions have emerged, not just between management and Max, but within the entire Red Bull hierarchy. Sources close to the team hint that private frustrations have been simmering for months, even years, hidden behind a facade of public unity. The real shock isn't that Max is winning, it's that despite everything he's built, he might now be looking for a way out. And once you look closer at what's been happening behind the scenes, it starts making a lot more sense. But this hidden unrest isn't just about Max feeling restless. It ties directly to a much bigger problem inside Red Bull, a power struggle that could tear the team apart from the inside. Section 2, the power struggle that nobody can ignore. For years, Red Bull's leadership seemed rock solid. Christian Horner and Helmut Marko worked together like a well-oiled machine, building a dynasty around Verstappen's raw talent. But that unity has started to unravel. And fast. The first major cracks appeared when internal investigations into Christian Horner surfaced, sparking rumors of misconduct and division within the team's upper ranks. While Horner maintained his innocence and kept his position, the fallout left scars that have not fully healed. Whispered conversations inside the paddock suggest that Max's father, Jos Verstappen, has been privately critical of how Red Bull's management handled the crisis. Jos, known for fiercely protecting his son's career, reportedly believes that the leadership instability could hurt Max's future. The tension doesn't stop there. Helmut Marko, who has long been one of Max's biggest supporters, has also found himself at odds with Horner on key decisions, from driver development to strategic direction. This ongoing tug-of-war has created a toxic environment where Max, once the golden child of a united front, now finds himself caught in the middle of a political battle he never wanted. And if there's one thing top athletes hate more than losing, it's instability. Max may love Red Bull's car, but loyalty has limits when trust erodes. Behind closed doors, Max's inner circle has reportedly started exploring backup options just in case the Red Bull empire crumbles faster than anyone expects. But it's not only internal chaos that's putting pressure on Verstappen's future. Rivals are already circling, preparing offers that could change everything. Section 3. Mercedes, Ferrari, and the mysterious phone calls. If Max Verstappen ever showed even the slightest sign of being available, the biggest names in Formula One would move mountains to get him. And lately, it seems they're already positioning themselves. Quiet reports have surfaced suggesting that Mercedes, led by the always strategic Toto Wolff, has made unofficial approaches to Verstappen's camp. Sources claim Wolff sees Max as the perfect successor to Lewis Hamilton's legacy, a generational talent capable of restoring Mercedes to their former glory. But it doesn't stop with Mercedes. Ferrari, desperate to reclaim their place at the top, is rumored to be preparing a historic offer, one that would make Verstappen the highest-paid driver in the history of the sport. While Verstappen has never shown a public interest in wearing red, insiders hint that the allure of rebuilding Ferrari's legacy and cementing himself as a true legend might appeal to his competitive instincts. Both teams know that Red Bull's internal issues could create a once-in-a-lifetime opening, and they are ready to pounce. Verstappen's management has reportedly fielded informal conversations already, though nothing official has been signed or publicly acknowledged. Still, the fact that these conversations are happening at all raises serious questions. If Verstappen were truly 100% locked into Red Bull, rival teams wouldn't even dare to approach. The truth is, they smell blood in the water. But what really gives Verstappen leverage isn't just his unparalleled skill. It's a secret embedded deep inside his current contract. One that could open the door to a shocking move. Section 4, the contract clause bombshell. When Max Verstappen signed his monster contract extension with Red Bull in early 2022, fans assumed it locked him down for good. On paper, he's tied to the team until the end of 2028. But as we've recently learned, that contract might not be as airtight as it seems. Buried deep within the legal fine print are several key clauses, exit options, that could allow Verstappen to walk away under specific circumstances. One of the most important? A clause linked directly to Red Bull's internal stability. If key personnel, particularly Helmut Marko, were forced out, or if the team's leadership structure drastically changed, Verstappen would have grounds to activate his release. This shocking revelation was kept secret from the public and only surfaced through insider leaks. It paints a very different picture of Verstappen's future. In other words, if the current Red Bull chaos continues, or if Horner's position becomes even shakier, Verstappen could legally terminate his contract and leave without any financial penalties. Some believe that Verstappen's recent behavior, including subtle comments about stability being important for performance, are coded warnings to Red Bull leadership. He's making it clear, fix the problems or he walks. And considering the tension that's already boiling under the surface, the possibility of Max triggering that escape clause isn't just theoretical. It's becoming alarmingly real. But the unease doesn't end with hidden contract details. Some of Red Bull's own leaders have started adding fuel to the fire through their strange cryptic public remarks. Section 5. Helmut Marko's cryptic comments. Helmut Marko has never been one to hold back his opinions, but lately his public statements have been setting the Formula One world ablaze with speculation. In several interviews earlier this season, Marko hinted that Red Bull's internal situation was more delicate than it appears. He stopped short of directly criticizing anyone, but the message was loud and clear. Not all was well behind the scenes. When asked about Verstappen's long-term future, Marko gave a particularly eyebrow-raising response, saying, "In Formula One, nothing is permanent. Anything can happen." For someone usually so bullish about Red Bull's dominance, this sudden shift in tone was too jarring. Insiders claim that Marko's relationship with Christian Horner has deteriorated in private. And Verstappen, caught between the two powerful figures, has grown increasingly uneasy. Even more telling, when pressed about Max's contract situation, Marko smirked and added, "Contracts are worth little if someone is truly unhappy." That one sentence sent shockwaves through the paddock. Was it a warning? A subtle message to the fans? Or perhaps even to Max himself? Whatever the intent, the damage was done. Fans and analysts alike are now openly questioning how stable Red Bull really is at its core. If someone as deeply connected as Marko is signaling trouble, it suggests that Max Verstappen's exit is not just a remote possibility, it might already be in motion. And if you look at Max's own recent actions, the signs become even harder to ignore. Section 6. Max's own recent behavior raises eyebrows. Max Verstappen has always been fiercely competitive and laser-focused, but sharp-eyed fans have noticed subtle changes in his behavior this season. In interviews, he's dropped uncharacteristic hints about new challenges and wanting to enjoy life more beyond racing. While Max still celebrates victories, there's a noticeable shift. Less raw emotion, more guarded professionalism. At the Australian Grand Prix, cameras caught a tense exchange between Max and key Red Bull engineers, sparking rumors that his frustrations are boiling just beneath the surface. Even his on-track radio messages, usually lighthearted after wins, have grown colder, often sounding more like a man checking boxes than savoring the glory. Analysts believe this could be a sign of burnout, or at least a growing dissatisfaction with the politics swirling around him. Verstappen, once openly loyal to Red Bull no matter what, now seems more willing to entertain the idea of change. His carefully chosen words in press conferences only deepen the mystery. When asked directly about his long-term plans, Max recently replied, "I'll see where life takes me. It's not always about winning." For a driver who's built his entire persona around crushing the competition, that's a startling admission. It's clear that something has shifted in his mindset, and when you pair Max's behavior with the crumbling foundations at Red Bull, a troubling pattern emerges. One that hints he's already mentally preparing for life after Red Bull. But if Max leaves, it won't just be about frustration or politics. There's an even deeper, more personal reason that could drive him to make the most shocking move of his career. Section 7. The secret reason Max might actually leave. While politics and contracts dominate headlines, there's a far more personal story behind why Max Verstappen might walk away. Insiders close to Verstappen reveal that Max has long harbored dreams beyond just Formula One dominance. In private conversations, he's spoken about his passion for sim racing, a world where he can compete without the overwhelming media scrutiny and endless team politics. Some suggest Max sees a future where he steps back from the brutal, never-ending grind of Formula One and chooses a life on his own terms. Still competitive, but more relaxed, more personal. There's also the element of family. Verstappen has hinted that he doesn't want to be racing into his 40s like some of his peers. He wants to enjoy his success, travel, build a life outside of constant spotlight pressure. The stress at Red Bull has only accelerated these feelings. If the environment becomes toxic enough, Max could make a choice that, to many, would seem unthinkable, stepping away from a dominant team at the peak of his powers. It's not about money, it's about control. About finding freedom in a career that's increasingly controlled by forces beyond the driver's hands. Max doesn't just want to be the greatest. He wants to live life on his terms. And if Red Bull can't offer that, he may very well shock the world by walking away. But if he does, the ripple effects would shake the entire sport to its core. Conclusion: is there a shocking new era on the horizon? The whispers, the cracks, the cryptic comments, they're all adding up to a possibility no one dared to imagine just a year ago. Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull, not because of failure, but because of success, tainted by chaos. Red Bull's internal battles have weakened the foundations of their empire, and Verstappen, ever the sharp strategist, sees the writing on the wall. Rival teams are lurking, ready to offer the world. Secret exit clauses, hidden frustrations, and Max's own evolving dreams have turned the unimaginable into a real, looming threat. If Verstappen walks, it would be the end of an era, and the start of a new one where Formula One's landscape could shift overnight. One thing's for certain, nothing in this sport stays the same forever. Max Verstappen has the power to change everything with a single decision. And based on what we now know, that decision might come a lot sooner than anyone expects.